Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
I only had one infection as an adult, and I was like, okay, first of all, how did children do this? Like, I have a pretty high pain threshold, and that was one pain where I was like, no, I don't. Well, I mean, any cold can technically give you an ear infection, but like, as you get older, your ears get better and better at like draining fluid. So if you just have an excess of fluid, no matter how big your ears are, they're not going to drain. Like, can you hear me?
Because if I lose my place, it's so much harder to find it again. If it's not like, because I have to scroll and I can't tell. But it's going to break up something else. We won't. There'll be more people that show up later.
They just don't have as many
Davis is coming.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think Dylan said he would.
I know Dylan. Logan's
No, Logan's in Oxford. I don't know about Will and Lexi. I mean, she's literally gonna have a baby in 2 weeks, so probably not.
Did you like it?
She's already had one, so she's okay. And she's a nurse, so she's seen it all. I think we've got multiple. Blake's wife is pregnant with a second one. Like our another couple is on here. They're about to have their second one.
I haven't been there yet. I need to go.
I don't know if there's another couple that's pregnant.
I remember being a scared version of the video.
Right.
That's funny. No, you want a mirror? No, I don't want a mirror. A mirror? No. Gosh.
They ask you if you want a mirror?
Yeah, so you can see it coming
No,
out.
dude. Ooh.
I think I'd pass
Why would
out
you?
if
I don't know
saw
if you'd
that.
want to. He's shaking his head. No.
That would not be ideal.
I don't even know if I'll be in the
Really?
I know, the shot was not the
Really? For any of them?
Jack, bro, what? Remember like the House of Dragon episode?
Oh well, that was intense.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
That was bad. That was bad.
yeah, it was really.
That
For
was
a lot
pretty
of-
good
Yeah.
experience. That was,
Really.
that was hard.
I was so like.
I didn't enjoy that.
No, it was honestly kind of like.
It served the story, but I didn't.
I was like, I don't want to watch that again.
You like House of Dragon? I liked it better than the movies.
I mean,
I know that's a lot to say.
Well, definitely better than the end of Game of Thrones.
I'd say better than the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was the
Man, that's another spin-off. Do another one.
I'm Bill.
Take care, yeah.
I heard her meowing.
Wow.
I mean,
That's crazy.
Every day to day is different. Because some days I'm like, I don't want to leave. I stay here forever. This is so fun. I'm just loving it. And then other times I'm like, I have to look at my computer and do an assignment. I'm going to throw it. Like, I can't do it.
If you had a muffin in your hand, I'm sure you'd be
Like, we
right
have
there.
everyone do it, but we're not the type
Like,
of
I'm
people who
muffins right
want
here.
to do it. So we'll just sit there like, do it angry. Like, well, we can just do it Mac.
You have real like.
Yes, that is different.
The yellow shirt and the Converse, like the backwards out, it's very like, you're like on sandwalk all grown up. The height of
Like, I'm just sitting in my room.
I don't know, I think it was Tamika, and she's like, that's really great. And it's from like 2001, and I think that now that's like, no, 80s movies are really cool. This is like, but there's some movies that I feel like I'm really big days and she's
It was between both them and the one. So I would run for GA.
That was the movie. She was like, I don't want to watch that. It's really
Georgia,
old. And I
I
was like,
didn't get it.
yeah, it was tough.
Right.
Like, they're awesome. You really only need to see the first. I haven't seen on like a horrible watch. The third one is
The
like,
side where I did that is
but the first one is like one of the best movies ever. So good.
say for this really.
Being no power.
I feel a lot of pressure.
Oh my God. It is like, it's hilarious and it's vibe. Like, yeah. It's just empowering movie. Okay. Don't fit like words. Be smart as you or silly and serious. Love it.
Busy. I think like being up here, I'm like that. If I'm like, no, I'm in Nashville, you're like, sure. Like, even if I can be in the bed that they take for free, like, I get to see people. So I have a good feeling when people will, and Foster Tuck's roommate is also going to Vanderbilt, so I won't be alone forever. I can bother Foster while I'm there. You can block my number when we get there.
Familiar face.
Yeah, which all of my sister's friends.
I'm the same. Like,
And I'm good friends with a lot of them, so because of my staff people I know in the city and my dad's sister. I'm not like super close with them, but I know that sometimes. If I need a free meal, I can.
Before I was.
I think I agree.
Yeah.
I
I was like, I got it soon.
You can say anything there. I know my mom, so I have on my laptop.
I like it.
I can handle that. Anything else? My program seems really good. I don't know what I'll do. But she's way hard and like only good. But the other classes that are getting ready to go out, I love like I mean like Blair, and so I've been on and I love somebody's but I was things that I heard was like for example, no, you didn't think that but she doesn't work. She knows. And like when I say I'm like we have I'll make it up like we're both on it, and even had the rest of the year actually. I don't feel like I'm going in like I went to like with education the other day, and I was going like make sure good luck living it. So that's what I did. Just got to chat with her. She's like, so tell me about your dance background. She's like talking about what classes I did here, and she's like, oh, we can get you out of some like pre-rec classes.
I think so. Well, was there not?
Remember that? That time, if that's true. I know. But it sounds like it'll be good, and I'll be getting like I'm pretty into this class. I will probably end up don't have anyone to say a lot of my, I'd rather just keep my mom until I have to. But probably that would be I don't like I would take any sort of job in the summer. I don't need it necessarily. That's true. Like I even know that like Kroger, they're like most people that put it in your market get paid 16 an hour as well. And it's like, I'll do anything for 2 or 3 months. I'm not like,
She's like,
I don't really care what the job is. It's just something to make sense before I go. Now I'm just heading back. I haven't
It's a veil. I think about that all the time. Graduation.
I say that was
Yeah, I love it. Oh, did you? I like it. Were you? Why did you just not? Right. Yeah. Yeah, I like, which is good. I was supposed to be a fun writer. I think we guys did everything together. So that's where I was for the long show at the beginning. I've never experienced
Wednesday, they're good. I like them. They were playing at the Orange Peel in June. I might go see them. I came out before the show, Foster. It's nothing to do with Jenna Ortega. Or
We don't know that.
I'm pretty positive.
Show's been in pre-production for a long time. I thought it was funny when Logan found that Jenna Ortega candle.
like Catholic prayer candle. It's awful. Have you started fishing yet? Have you started fishing yet?
A little bit.
I feel like the water's probably still pretty freezing. Especially anything fed from Watauga.
Yeah, look at the water stay.
Have you heard of William Neely? The guy that like he was popular in the 80s and 90s. He was like a big like adrenaline sports dude, like into whitewater kayaking. And he made like all those maps of the different rivers. He was like kind of like cartoony. And but I think he like killed himself in 2001. But one of my professors at ETSU like put together a whole exhibit in the museum on him, and like all his maps are in there, and like a bunch of stuff from his life. It was pretty cool. He was crazy. He published books on like rock climbing, mountain biking, kayaking, like kayak like basically every river that you could imagine, like in here and in Europe and stuff.
Morning. What day are we at? April 16th? We're on to something. Is it summer? Spring? Spring? When is summer? May? June? See, I don't know what's going on. Welcome. However you're walking into this space, Mosaic is a table. We say this all the time. It's a table for however you're walking in. You don't have to check your stuff at the door, but you bring it with you. We have a Jesus that one of the only times he describes himself in the Gospels is in Matthew 11, and he says, "I'm gentle and I'm lowly of heart." Beautiful statement. Could have said 1,000 different things, but he chose to say that he's gentle and he's lowly. So whatever you're carrying, whatever you're walking in with, the doubts, the questions, the stuff in your mind that's not settled, whatever book you're reading right now and it's causing more questions in your mind, or the sin that you can't shake, whatever it is, you're welcome here. Jesus doesn't say leave it at the door. He says bring it to the table. So here we are. Jesus-y people. No need to fake it here. I'm going to play a song for us real quick. If you want to look at the lyrics and follow along, it'd be really cool, but you don't have to. It's called All in All by John Mark Pentana. He's kind of like our dude. So I'm going to play it for us, and then I'll hand it off to Corey. All in All, John Mark Pentana.
Sunrise in the sky, every lover and good time. Every time I see you there, you know everything, all the knowing gentle breeze on the silent breeze. The western seas in a tidal wave, I'll sing. The lions roar, the humble and silent. Life is in your Every winter in my mind, every wonder intertwined. Every time I see you, you're in everything, all in all in you. The summer air, silent breeze, lost in seas, the tidal wave, a wild scene. The lions roar, the humble and silent, and life is in your hand. Oh how I wonder what's in store. Oh how I wonder what's in store through the next door. Life is in your hands. Every star in galaxy, every wonder in our dream, every time I see you there, all in everything, all in all in you. The gentle breeze, the summer air, the silent breeze. The western sea, the tidal wave, I'll sing. The lions roar, the humble and silent. Life is in your life is in yours and yours alone. Life
It's good. It's good. All right, take a second. Think back through the past week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, month.
Dare I say 4? Take a second here to think back over your life the past little bit and try to take in all the good. Think of something that was good. Maybe it's something simple, something big. While you're thinking, I can share mine. My son's obsessed with baseball right now, and it's one of the greatest things of all time. He wants me to pitch to him constantly just so he can hit bombs, and that's his words. And he got this big 30-inch bat. This guy from school just had it and gave it to me to give to him, but it's a little too big. Like he's a stud, but come on now, he's a beanpole. And so he needed a smaller one, but he was so obsessed with swinging the big one. Because one time I soft tossed him one and he just clobbered it and it went off for like a mile. And he was like, I'm only using this bat. Well, then we went and played a game and he struck out like 2 times. And because he can't swing fast enough with this massive bat. So I was like, bro, let's go get you a new one. So I went to Walmart and got him like a $30 bat. And I was like, here, try this one out. And I was pitching to him and he just started cranking them. I mean, one by one. We went to baseball practice yesterday and he was just cranking them. And yesterday he just sent one to the fence. I mean, it probably hit the ground 6 feet from the fence, then rolled to it. He basically hit a grand slam in his eyes. It's practice. There's nobody on base. It's just him. But he literally bat flips it to me and points. He's got this little swagger. I don't know where it comes from. And he points at me and then does this little like, and then proceeds to run around the bases and then comes through. He gritties up to from third base to home and then high fives me. He's like, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, literally held the bat like a baby the rest of the time. And but that was a moment. It was just like, it was fun. it was a fun, good, it was a good moment. And I took a second to take it in because now sometimes he ain't like that. All right. Sometimes he got a bit of an attitude and but he was a really good moment. So that was something from my past week. What you got? Name some good in your life?
We have friends. We have these really good friends, and they're just the best kind of friends to have because they're like really generous and fun, and also fun to be around. We've all had friends that are generous and also not fun to be around. So you're like, how much do I want to take advantage of all the things you're offering? But you're not enjoyable. But they are wonderful and like very sweet and have become really good friends since we moved here. So they called us up this week and were like, hey, we bought tickets to go see Nate Bargatze. We want you guys to come with us. We got your tickets already. And I was like, awesome. And I said this as like a joke, and Corey said it like responded to me as I was being really serious, which tells me I should be really serious about what I said. But I was like, man, I need to practice laughing more. And he's like, yeah. But I just like, I think I like, I sit in darkness way too easily, and I just like melancholy a lot. And so just like going to an event where the entire purpose from start to finish for 2 hours is just to laugh was a really good time. And it was really sweet to just like literally laugh for 2 hours and just to like be with people that we enjoyed and realizing like it's really good to make space for fun and for just like silliness and productive laughter.
Somebody else, what you got?
Olivia and I finished our theses this week.
Come on.
Turned them in. So that's a massive load off our shoulders.
For context, I spent the last year on mine. Tuck's for the last week.
It was still a big load.
He called an audible
His
though.
is more words than mine. And I spent the last year on mine. That's just how we work. But I find that really funny because his work quality is still fantastic. And I like put so much effort into mine and had so
Yours
many.
is better than mine. Mine is
Well,
sloppy. But
Y'all can read them if you'd like, but I think
they'll be
Well,
published
let's just
on-
submit them
I
all and
You
we'll
can find them
we'll
on the
come to
library's
it.
website within a year after the
Uh-huh.
embargo releases. So.
right.
There you go.
But I am still impressed by how he can work and get things done, especially in crunch time when I would just shy away from the problem, and he was able to do it all and do it well, which I thought was impressive. So
Good. Someone else, what you got?
was Easter last week?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last Sunday, I took Chuck home for Easter, which that's an interesting situation with like where to go to church and all the things with the way that my family is right now. So I wasn't sure what it would look like. So we went to a new church that my mom's been going to. Sweet little lady has been trying all these churches in Knoxville, going to 2 to 3 services every Sunday, starting at the 8:15, trying different churches out at each service. The one she's really liking right now, we went, and I was like a little like, I don't know what this is gonna be. We'll see. And my kindergarten teacher goes there, which is super random. However, kindergarten teacher, which is super.
What the
Hit the power button on that thing.
Jeff
Anyways.
Bezos is listening to you.
God.
Yes.
That was Jeff Bezos'
I
AI.
don't have some kind of body experience.
All right, back. Kindergarten teacher goes.
She is one of the people that's like the most influential in my life and got me into the career path I'm going into now. And I met with her before I went to college as a catch up and like a just to be with someone who means a lot to me. And I haven't seen her in a long time, being up here and not going to that church or anything like that. And she doesn't work she's retired now. But to see her and like she just remembers so much about me and just like she's still so welcoming. I'm like, how do you still love kids? And like, you've been a kindergarten teacher for 30 years. Like, how are you not so jaded? But she was still so sweet. And she got to meet Tef, which I was like, well, that is so fun because she is someone who means a lot to me. And like, I was worried about how Easter would look, but I was like, well, that was such a fun gift. Like, I had no idea that would happen. And that was like super fun.
Thing is cool. Man. Somebody else?
This little guy started eating solid foods this week.
Hey.
It's been super fun watching him explore like new things.
Yeah.
Different things. So.
Let's go, Bubba. Come on.
Their Ukrainian company got a van.
Ooh, man. Mobile.
You would have thought they just got a new Ferrari.
Yeah.
And they were out there washing it and cleaning it. And I was explaining how all the things worked. And it's got a DVD player in it. It's like a 2002 Odyssey with like
Man, good year.
30,000 miles on it.
What a year. What a year.
But yeah, they are very excited. So
That's dope. I got a lot of love for the 03 Honda Odyssey. It was one my mom had. So I grew up in. I hooked my PS2 up in the back. Thought it was the dopest thing of all time, but you can hook a game system up to a car. Still kind of sick, honestly. I still do it today. Someone else? Anybody else got? Before we jump in here.
I'm playing on an intramural softball team at ETSU.
Ooh, come on.
And my team is really the most random group of people I've ever met. But it's so much fun. We're actually pretty good. We won 2 out of the 3 games. We have the playoffs.
Hey, come on.
But just honestly, that's been the highlight of my week for the past couple weeks. So.
Let's go. The intramural's great. Oh my gosh. I could jump on that train for a while. All right, if you got your Bible, go to Psalm 46. I'll be there in a moment. Be in there in a moment. I'm kicking off just realized I'm out of coffee. Kicking off a new series today. Consider this like a prequel to the actual series. Okay. So just we're talking about how to live. Practices for everyday life. I'm going to add to this slide as we go. I thought it'd be cool to, as we go, I'll add little artwork and see what comes of it. But the whole thinking here is, especially in in the Christian world, we do a lot of talking about, which what we just came out of is what about, these big issues? What do we think about this? What does the Bible say about this kind of stuff? And they're usually pretty theological, philosophical, psychological, ethical. They're usually pretty big ideas, which is fine. And there's a place for that. But there's a problem is when you spend all your time up here, you forget how to live down here. And ultimately, I think one of the things that Christians do a lot is we forget how to live. Growing up in the church, I remember hearing a sermon and be like, man, that was a really great sermon. I don't know what to do tomorrow though. You've been there. You've been in a church service and the preacher's up there and they're preaching and it's, wow, this is really good. Yeah. But what am I supposed to do with that? How does this affect my Tuesday afternoon when I'm in a classroom with 8th graders and one's just really getting under my skin? How does this affect that? Or, I went to the dentist this past week. Good Lord, y'all. Rough. All right. Rough. RUFF, rough. And that's how you spell it when you go in for a root canal. Oh my gosh, y'all. Bad. How does how, and that's my biggest question for a lot. It's how does this stuff with Jesus and God, the Bible, faith, goodness, grace, patience, love, hope, how does that help me be a better dad, a better husband? Does it actually affect my everyday life? Or is this just something we go to on once a week and we give a couple amens? Oh, that was so good. Thank you, preacher. And then I just go keep doing my own thing. And I'm convinced that this is one of the things that Jesus came to blur was the line between the sacred and the secular. I think when you start to look at it, pretty much everything's spiritual. Everything. There's a sacredness to all things. And the second you start putting things in boxes is the second you start putting God in places that he cannot work in. Because if this is your sacred life and this is the secular life, then God can only work in the sacred. So then this other stuff, have whatever you want in it, because this is separate from God. And I think that's a problem. When Jesus comes here, he says, no, the kingdom of God is here. It's now. It's invading in every moment of your life, even right now. So that even going to a dentist for a root canal could have something to do with spirituality. Oh, for sure. So we're going to talk about how to live. Practices for everyday life. Because Jesus talked a lot about the here and now. Talked a lot about forgiveness and love and hope. How to be present in the moment. How to connect. And how all things are connected. And I think the more you look at your everyday, how does this teaching of God, how does this scripture affect my Tuesday morning? I think you might actually start seeing your life transformed in what you want it to be. And so today, kind of like I said, this is a prequel to what kind of a practice that I think has fundamentally changed my life. And I will say that till I die. It is the one thing that I've added in that's so small. It's really nothing that crazy. What I'm about to give you is going to seem dumb. It's going to seem really, come on. But it has, I can't even begin. I did it after the dentist office. Partly because I was doped off that nitrous stuff and I needed a second to chill. But I did it. Then I did it when Judah hit the bomb. I do it multiple times when I'm at school. Saturday mornings, if I'm ever running an errand, I'll do it in my car. Literally, it's this one thing that I do all the time has fundamentally changed my soul. Because that's the thing with some of these practices. We don't realize if everything's connected, everything's spiritual, and if you believe you have a soul, then everything's got some spiritual weight to it, and then everything's going to affect your soul. Everything. And so I think we got to be good soul keepers. So what we're talking about today is how to be still. Come on, somebody. How to be still. You probably know the verse that I'm going to in Psalm. It's been on a coffee cup. It's probably been on your mom's refrigerator. It's probably been on some embroidered bag. What's the verse that we're going to? Be still and know. Psalm 46. Come on, somebody. Psalm 46. I'm going to read the whole chapter because the whole chapter needs context. So what's the plan for the rest of this time is I'm going to read Psalm 46. I'm going to talk about the kind of the theological, spiritual principle of stillness. And then I'm going to get some kind of practical too, because, y'all know how to be still, but we'll get there. Psalm 46, start reading verse 1 says, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. I'm not even going to get to the main verse. I still got that like Southern Baptist preacher in me that still hasn't like let go. And sometimes I just want to camp out. Even now, I'm talking about a verse. I haven't gotten into it. I've read one verse. You know, preachers do that. They read one verse and they stop and take 15 minutes. And here I go doing it. Verse 1 again, because it's so good. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God will help her when the morning dawns. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come, behold the works of the Lord, how he has brought desolations on the earth. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. Keep that in mind. He burns the chariots with fire. And then verse 10, be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. So good. Notice the song. Now remember, it's Hebrew poetry. So the Hebrew, they're trying to put a picture in your brain. So as you're reading this, the picture that develops is a bit chaotic, right? It's like though mountains go into the sea, the kingdoms rise and fall, that God's our refuge and our strength, even though all this other chaos is happening around you, rest assured he's for you. He's with you. We're not going to be left alone. He breaks the bow. He burns chariots with fire. He can do all this stuff. Then you get this tagline, be still and know that I am God. I remember hearing this and not fully understanding it. Because like, what am I supposed to do? Just kind of be like, God? And but when you know where I think this psalm is pulling from, it helps bring a little bit more clear. Do you know that there's a thing in the Bible when you read the law, the first mention. So when you read something, you're like, oh, it sounds familiar. It's probably because it was mentioned prior, and that person that's writing is pulling from it. So do you know a story before Psalms in the Old Testament where they are told, the people of Israel are charged to be still, for it's God that will fight for you? It's a moment in Exodus 14. Moses has led the people of Israel out. They're on this trek in the wilderness. They get to the sea and they're stuck. They see there, they can't cross the sea. And then what else is the other problem? Oh, Pharaoh's coming. Pharaoh's like changed his mind. He's like, man, let me go get them back. And so he's got his chariots. He's got his army, and they're coming. And the people just start freaking out. They're like, Moses, why did you do this? They get mad at God. Like, God, like, you brought us out of Egypt just to kill us here? Like, he's not going to like, what's the purpose in planning all this? So then God speaks to Moses. He says, tell the people of Israel that you need only to be still. That the God will fight for you. The God who loves you, the God who saves you, the God who rescues you will fight for you. You need only to be still. So when you see that story now, has there ever been in a situation in your life? Oh, here, let me get mine. We're all going to take a sip of this in a second. You're like, what are we doing? What kind of church do we go to? Have you ever been in a situation in your life where you felt like the thing that was in front of you was hopeless and dark and pointless, but you can't go back because that might be even worse? You see this? That I feel stuck. I don't like my option forward. I don't like my option backward. I'm kind of in a rut. I don't really like my circumstances. I'm struggling with depression and anxiety. I'm frustrated. I'm mad. I'm mad at God. I'm mad at this leader. I'm mad at my parents. I'm mad at my friends. I'm mad at my coworkers. I'm mad at my boss. And then I feel bad that I'm mad. I feel bad that I'm frustrated. I feel guilt and shame because I should just be grateful to have life and breath, but I don't. So now I'm just stuck. It's in those moments. You need stillness. You need only to be still. That the God who loves you, the God who fights for you, He's with you. He's your very present help in trouble. He's your refuge and your strength. That when you're in a situation and you don't really know what to do, you don't know the right choice, you tried to get out of it and it made it worse. You ever been in that situation before? Like you trying to do the right thing and it made the situation even more bad? You need stillness. Everyone know like a good garage sale? Come on now. That's why I love Facebook Marketplace. It's a year-round garage sale. Come on, somebody. Like I ain't big on Facebook, but I'm big on Facebook Marketplace. Come on, somebody. I look at random crap that I have no interest in. You can ask my wife. She's like, why are you looking at a Barbie doll house? I'm like, I might be interested if it's a good deal. You know? She's like, why are you looking at pliers? I'm like, I don't know. They said they were for $2. I might want pliers. You know, like it's like you can go buy new pliers. Pliers aren't that expensive. Like I might want some pliers from this guy, you know? I'm looking at leaf blowers. I already have a leaf blower, but hey, this one might be better. All right. Looking at random people's pottery and coffee cups and like appliances. I'm like, maybe I need a new oven, a second oven in the garage. All right. Maybe, you know? But and it's like there's always that phrase, it's like another person's like trash is another person's treasure. You know, like that. Guys, I love a good garage sale. Love it. I probably should do more of it because I have as much as I don't want to admit this in front of my wife, I might be a bit of a hoarder, a little bit. Not a hoarder of like meaningless things. All my stuff has meaning. All right.
That's what all
Stop. You know, we don't need to get into this. All right. I'm a collector. All right. I'm a collector of intricate items. All right. It's a hobby. Okay. You don't get mad at you guys for your stamp collection. Let me collect stupid stuff. It's like, why are we talking about this? Springtime. What are we all about to do? Spring clean, right? Get rid of all the crap. All right. You go through, we try to do this even before Christmas time because we know we're about to get an influx of just random stuff. So we even try to get rid of stuff then. But then we always have so much more stuff. Like it's like we got so much stuff. But in the world, there's a regular pattern for getting rid of clutter in your life. Like whether it's Facebook Marketplace, garage sales, or just taking it to Goodwill or throwing it away. We very often have pretty good rhythms of getting rid of stuff in our life. But the only problem with that is that we don't have a rhythm for all the emotional, spiritual, mental, psychological clutter. There's no rhythms for it. You might be walking around right now with stuff that you picked up 2 years ago. A dirty look from a boss. Somebody said something to you and hurt you and you've held on to it. You see, it's like that we have regular rhythms for physical stuff, but not regular rhythms for anything else. And what I would argue is that it's typically that clutter in your mind and in your soul that latches on, that messes up everything else. That you can't make good decisions with clutter in your soul. There's this old allegory of this old man that would come and he'd clean up the rivers in this old town. He'd always come in, he'd clean it out, take all the crap out, make sure the river's running. He did this for his entire life. Well, then a new mayor comes into the town. He's going to do something new. You know, when you get a new young gun that's going to change the world. And so he starts laying off people, changing people's job descriptions. And he finds this old man and he's like, well, what does this guy do? And nobody knows. Like, we really don't know what this guy does. And so he's like, we'll let him. He's close to retirement. Let's just go and give him a good package, send him on his way. So they do that. Well, what was used to be this healthy, but like, what's the word? Bustling town. I don't know if that's the right word. Like thriving city with this beautiful river that people would come all across the world to see and to visit, suddenly started to die and decay. The river started to dry up, the fish started dying. And what they found out was that this old man, for his entire 30, 40 years of his job that people forgot that he did, was every single day he would walk up and down the river, pull out limbs, pull out debris, pull out the dead animals, and clean it and clear it so that the river could thrive and that the city could also thrive. This is your soul. Your soul is the river. It's the thing that functions for everything else. And you have to have processes and rhythms to declutter your soul. And so this is the thing with stillness here. It's very, very practical. I'm not one for props, but I do love a good prop every so often. There's only a few of us here. Y'all remember the last time I brought this? I brought this a few weeks back. And it was nasty. What is this called again? What kind of solution or a suspension? Kind of science, y'all. Watch out. So here's the thing. I'm gonna ruin it now. You're going to work. All right, and somebody gives you a dirty look. They mouth off to you. You're at school, you got papers. You go to work, get to that, you meet that really problemsome person that just mouths off to you because you didn't do what they thought you said and you misunderstood them. Now they're yelling at you. They're like, can I speak to your manager? You're like, I am the manager. And like, there's no way you could be the manager because you're so young. Can I speak to the manager? Like, all right, I'll go find somebody random. You go home. You call mom and dad. You call your grandma, your grandpa, your aunts and uncles, your brother talks crap to you. You go to the dentist thinking you're going to just get a little cavity filled. And the dentist is like, hey, it's actually a root canal. You're going to be here for 2 hours. And your life just gets all cloudy. And for most of us, we just keep on the hustle. We go to bed. We wake up the next day. We just keep on going. And just keep on doing the same thing over and over again. And then a decision comes. A problem arises. And we're like, let me find clarity. Let me see if I can get some clarity there. Look how clear that is. Oh my gosh. But here's the reality here. Stillness. Stillness helps things settle in your life. Little by little, things will fall. Things will rise. And this is why this practice is so important. It's because in stillness, you can actually have the space to get rid of things, to hold on to the things that are important. But it also brings clarity. It brings clarity. And when I say stillness, this is what I literally mean. Watch this. This will just get better with time too. And there's parts of dirt. But now we're going to pass this around. Everyone's got to take a sip. All right. When I mean stillness, literally. Like I did this yesterday. I stopped in my car and I just stopped for a second. Now I got some questions I'll give you in a second here to help process. Like you're like, what am I actually supposed to? So for some of y'all, you just need to stop. You need to take 10 minutes a day and just sit there because you're so addicted to achieving and productivity. The idea of just sitting there doing nothing sounds crazy. Crazy. But it might be the thing your soul needs. You just sit there. And I got a few questions. I put a couple of them on this thing in a second here. You just sit there. Because this leads you into silence and solitude. So if you've done some like Christian practices before it leads you into this. But you just be still. You get connected to your mind, your body, your soul. It's not meditation. You ain't got to cross your legs and give a couple ums. You're just sitting there. I'm mindful of what I'm feeling. I even take notice of my heartbeat. Take a couple deep breaths. And then I'll ask I got 3 or 4 questions that I'll just kind of think. And sometimes I'll even close my eyes. I'll have my hands on the steering wheel, not driving, obviously. And I just take a second to be still. And you won't believe the kinds of stuff that starts to settle in your life. Things that you didn't know you were carrying around. Things you didn't know stuck to your soul. By simply just stopping and taking a second to be aware of your body and mind and soul in the very present moment. I love a good quote. Here's some quotes for you. This was about just a sermon of quotes. Henry Nouwen says, if we really believe not only that God exists, but also that he is actively present in our lives, healing, teaching, and guiding, we need to set aside a time and space to give him our undivided attention. This is why I think it is important when you are being still, that after you take note of your body and your pulse and your breathing, and you take a second. Now, there's a lot of psychological benefits to even just kind of stopping and kind of taking a note. It's called like a biological, physiological checklist. Runners do this all the time too. When you're running and you're on a long run, you can like do a quick systems check, is what they call it. It'll even just take Jesus off the table. Psychologically, you'll benefit. That's why I think you turn your attention after you do all that. Do your systems check, then you turn your attention to God. That the very divine presence of God can come and meet you in a moment. And there's certain things you can do. Next, Mother Teresa, come on. We need to find God, and he cannot be found in noise and restlessness. God is the friend of silence. See how nature, trees, flowers, grass grows in silence. See the stars, the moon, and the sun, how they move in silence. We need silence to be able to touch souls. Another one. Ryan Holiday. Stillness is what aims the archer's arrow. It inspires new ideas. It sharpens perspective, and it illuminates connections that might otherwise go unnoticed. We must cultivate an inner stillness, a quietness of heart and mind that allows us to tune out the noise of the world and hear the whispers of truth. So I think stillness might be the most practical thing for your life. This is what Jesus does constantly throughout the Gospels. Jesus breaks away. I even thought about going to the story where he proclaims over the storm, peace be still. There it is again. There's chaos, there's a storm, there's rage, and he's sleeping in the boat, gets up and says, peace be still. And just, there's a lot going on there is why it's a lot about him being connected to Yahweh and this divine prophecy in the Old Testament. Couldn't get into it. But even that moment, but he's constantly sneaking away. Matthew 6, he says, go into your closet and pray in secret, in private. Jesus was all about getting away from the noise and the distractions and being still. I think it's one thing we don't talk enough about in the Christian world. It's going. Last one I thought was interesting. What kind of person do you want to be when you are old? No one will answer that they want to be half aware, lost in thought, and missing life. But the things you practice doing with your attention now will be what you are then. So, questions. Here we go. If you want to just write these down, take a mental note of these are some that I typically will ask myself. Sometimes I have a psalm. So like I did this yesterday. I did Psalm 46. I had to go to the school for this. I'm in the play. I'm in the our high school drama. I've been asked to come back and perform. I feel sorry for the rest of the people because my 15 seconds of fame is going to overshadow all their hard work for the past couple of years. But it is what it is. I die. So, they needed someone to come in say a couple lines, and then get stabbed. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. That's fine. I'm probably going to get an Oscar for it. But I had to go yesterday in school. And so I pulled in the parking lot. Judah ran on inside. I just sat there. I pulled up my Bible app, highlighted Psalm 46, hit play. And it was the most awkward moment of my life. But I just heard Psalm 46. So I want to change out some clutter of my soul with that kind of stuff. I don't want to keep the same old clutter. But here's some questions also. I'm like, what's my current state of my heart, mind, and spirit? So this is part of the systems check. I'll go, what am I grateful for in my life right now? I'm like, trying to take a moment, being still. Like, what am I grateful for? What do I need to release or let go of in order to be more present in this moment? Sometimes I find out I'm trying to be still and my mind keeps jumping to something. You may do this when you pray, when you're trying to pray sometimes. Right? Why do I keep going back to this moment? It's because that moment's on your soul. It's like, why do I get distracted all the time when I'm trying to pray? It's because you have a distracted soul. What do you want from God? What do I want? What do you want from God? What I want from God in this moment? You know the power of just naming what you want? Just be like, God, I want $1 million. That might be silly, sure. But you know what that tells me? It's like, man, I got some financial strain. $1 million be nice. Like, I'm talking about like legitimately when you're sitting in like, not like the crazy stuff, like when people are like, what do you want from God? And you're like, world peace. You're like, stop. What do you actually want from God? You're like, man, I like my car to work. You know, that'd be nice. You know, like there's stuff that you actually want, not the Christian mask or the Christian flag. What do you actually want from God? And you speak that. So what Jesus did, Mark 10 with Bartimaeus, he looks at this blind man and says, what do you want? Jesus all the time did this with people. He asked people, what do they want? And a lot of times, he gave it to him. I'm not saying he'll give you $1 million, but hey, it would be nice, Lord. What characteristics of Jesus do I want to embody in my life? Because there's moments when I was like, patience comes up. I'm like, I need some patience. Or yesterday, I felt like I asked myself this, and I just felt, I literally heard God just, I remember I heard, be a servant, be a servant, be a servant. Serve somebody, serve somebody. I was like, okay, today I'm going to try to serve. So I went home and I built my kids a bunk bed. Messed it up. There might be a broken screw in the thing somewhere, but it is what it is. God didn't tell me to do it perfectly or good. He just told me to go serve, and I tried. What do I desire most right now? I put this too because sometimes it's pretty much the same question, but there's sometimes we don't think it's spiritual. I do this in class a lot. Sometimes I'm like, hey, what do you guys want from God? And everyone has these like really like deep answers, and they're bogus. And then a couple weeks later, I'll be like, hey, what do you like? What, just anything. What do you want a lot right now? And sure enough, they're always different. Always different. And so we think these are different questions sometimes, and they're not. Literally, I'll tell you, I got one student that a couple weeks ago, they were like, I need more patience. I'd love more patience. I'm like, okay, cool. This past week, they put, I want my parents to quit fighting. Now, maybe they're probably more connected than what they realized. But you see this person thought that I gotta do something spiritual. But I think God really cares about this too. How can I be more compassionate, loving, and kind towards myself and others? How can I be more compassionate, loving, and kind towards myself and others? Just take a moment, just a second. I'm like, God, maybe in this moment, because here's the one problem, the shadow side of self-care is that you never come out of it. Which, and I'm not, guys, I'm all for it. You need a day, take a day. Sure. You need a moment, you got some anxiety, go outside, breathe a little bit. Sure. Like, go home. Sure. But when you stay in it, when you stay in self-care, what's the focus? Self. And you got to be careful. And so sometimes I ask myself, I'm like, man, am I being too self-focused right now? Good or bad? Because sometimes what I have found is when I am anxious, when I am like really struggling with some darkness, the thing that helps me get out of it is being less focused on it. And that's not pushing it down. It's just saying, hey, this is a reality. I can't really get out of it, but I got to let some things settle in my life. And it's there. There's some dirt there. I got some dirt in my life. I got some darkness. I got some crud that I don't really want anybody to see. But there's other stuff that's floating to the top that I can get rid of. And one of the things that helps you get that is going to go be more compassionate and loving and kind. So what we're going to do, I'm going to give you, I don't know, I'm not connected to the speaker. So we're going to sit in silence. Going to be wild. All right. I'm going to give us, if you got a phone, you got a journal, think through and be still. So what we're going to do is just take a second. You're going to sit there and I would just start breathing. If you don't want to close your eyes, keep your eyes open. I don't care. Maybe don't stare at somebody because that'd be weird. Be like, it'd be strange. Don't be that guy or lady. Don't be that person. But take a moment, focus in on something. All right. Now it's not easy. All right. Don't think that, okay, I just got to sit there. Like, watch. It's going to be hard because the second you start you're like, I got to go to the grocery store. Where am I going for lunch? It's going to start happening. All right. So focus in on something and just do a systems check. Focus on your breathing. You know, when you do that, I have an existential problem sometimes. I'm like, how do I know how to breathe? Like, how does this, like, what if I forgot to stop breathing and then I don't? What would happen? And, you know, like, so take a second there and have a little moment where you just, like, consciously breathe. You're like, okay, all right. Just do that a couple times. Be aware of what's going on in your body. Like, are you hot? I'm a little toasty right now. Like, feel that. Be like, okay, I'm a little warm. I'm a little uncomfortable. Let me get comfortable. My ankle hurts a little bit. Why is my thumb achy? Well, that's weird. And see, it seems random, but you're checking everything. And then once you get through that, pick a question. Just take a second. Or you want to take your Bible out. You got Psalm 46 there. Just take a second and read through it. Not to get some one-liner, not to check some box to tell someone you had your quiet time, not so you don't feel bad about just read it just to have something for your brain to focus on. And just take a second to be still and just see what comes to the surface. See what levels out. There might be something in here that you don't even know is in there. That's what I should have done. I should have hid like a ring or something in that. That'd been dope. Next time. There might be something in here that you're like, man, I didn't know that was there. There might be a desire to go do something that you didn't know. This might be the most beneficial thing. I do this a couple minutes a day, every single day. Sometimes on the weekends, I'll do it for 10, 15 minutes. It's one of the most powerful things. Try it this week. We'll do it right now. So take a second. I'm going to shut up for I'm going to give you 7 minutes. We're going to do this for 7 minutes. Sit here, be still, and see what happens. It's going to get awkward. Ready, set, begin.
All right, let's pray together. God, we come right now with open hearts and open hands, God, ready to receive what you have for us. So, God, I pray for you to speak and move in our lives right now. God, we pray for the power of your Spirit to come in and transform and to change. God, I pray for those of us that came in today a little hopeless, a little worried, a little frustrated, God. God, I pray for healing today. God, I pray for just some guidance today. God, I pray for those of us that walked in a little heavy, carrying a lot of weight from the world. God, I pray that you take some of that today. Help us to leave here a little lighter, a little bit more free. God, we know that we are not as free as you want us to be. So God, bring us freedom today. Bring us hope today. God, bring us healing today. Bring us peace and joy. And help us to be patient and compassionate and kind. And help us recognize that we are right where we need to be in the very moment you want us to be in. So God, help us to see the significance in that. Help us go to work and school and hang out with friends this week. Help us see the eternal spiritual impact. God, help us to become people who look like you, sound like you, talk like you, act like you. God, be with us today. We love you. We're thankful for you. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. So over the next few weeks, the focus is the greatest thing you can do in your life has nothing with doing, but everything with being, to your becoming. And that at the end of your life, the gift you give back to God is the person you are. And so I want to be someone that looks like the image of God who I was created in. I don't want to live in my shadow self. I want to live in my true self, who God sees me as. I want to lean more into that. And I want to become that. And so over the next few weeks, we're looking at, how to do those things in a very practical way. All right. Not very much, what does this look like? How does this change your life here and now? And so we're going to keep doing this over the next few weeks. And this week, try to take a moment, 30 seconds. Start off small. You just did it for 7 minutes. All right. So if you can do it for 7 minutes, you can probably do it. But sometimes you got to get to your job. I got to get into school, and I'm usually rolling in right at the last minute anyway. So take 30 seconds and just be still. And then as you get better, as you find moments where you can turn the radio off, turn the podcast off, and just be still. Try to find some moments this week to be still and just see what happens. Because that's the power of this thing is, the longer it sits there, you saw at the start, it gets, the more still you are and the better you get at it. It's a discipline. The more clear it becomes, and that it takes time and takes work. So thank you guys for being here today. As always, if you need anything, holler. We got tons of people around. So even though you may feel alone, you ain't alone. All right. Thursday stuff, I guess probably a good announcement, right?
We haven't decided if it'll be at our house or maybe at Park again, but
Okay. Sweet. So just make sure you're connected to that group chat. Gosh, I gotta look that thing. I gotta be better than that. So hey, you guys enjoy your Sunday. Have a wonderful day. Go and sin no more.